Have you ever felt like you're capable of something greater? Like there's a version of you out there that could be stronger, smarter, more driven, more you, but somehow you keep falling short of becoming that person. It's frustrating, right? You see flashes of potential in yourself, moments of clarity, maybe even bursts of motivation. And then life pulls you back down. Back into bad habits. Back into excuses. Back into playing small. The harsh truth? It's not just life's fault. Most of us are making stupid, subtle and silent mistakes that slowly kill our potential. And we don't even realize it. Because these mistakes are comfortable, socially acceptable, and often disguised as normal life. But Nietzsche saw through this illusion. He spent his life calling it out, exposing the invisible chains that keep people from becoming who they could be. In this video, we're going beyond basic motivation. We're pulling wisdom straight from Nietzsche's most dangerous and enlightening ideas. Ideas that were too raw, too real, and too revolutionary for most people to handle. But if you stay with me, really sit with these truths, and apply them, you might just reclaim the power you've been handing away for years. 1. Choosing comfort over struggle. One of the most seductive mistakes we make is believing that life is supposed to be comfortable, that happiness means ease, that growth should feel good. Nietzsche would have laughed or screamed at this idea. He saw comfort not as success, but as a trap, a quiet prison. Because when life gets too easy, you stop evolving. In his own words, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. That chaos, that's struggle, that's resistance, that's hardship. Nietzsche believed that the human spirit is forged in fire, not in peace. When you avoid discomfort, whether it's through procrastination, distraction, or just staying in your little bubble, you're dodging the very experiences that could elevate you. Growth demands resistance. Transformation requires tension. Here's the twisted irony. The more you seek comfort, the more fragile you become. The more you chase ease, the less equipped you are to handle the real storms of life. And when life finally hits, because it will, you break. So instead of asking, how can I make this easier? Ask yourself, what if the pain I'm avoiding is the path I need to walk? Nietzsche didn't see suffering as something to escape, but as something to embrace and overcome, because within it lies the secret of who you are meant to become. 2. Following the herd. The second deadly mistake? Conformity. Nietzsche warned us about the danger of becoming what society wants rather than who you really are. From school to social media, we're taught to blend in, not stand out, to do what's expected, to chase what others chase. But this is a spiritual death, a slow erasure of individuality. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche introduces the concept of the last man. He's not evil or corrupt, he's just comfortable, passive, predictable. The last man avoids risk, avoids depth, avoids purpose. He's the product of a culture that values safety over freedom, and sadly this is who most people become, by default, not because they're weak, but because they never stop to question the script. If you live by someone else's blueprint, you will die with someone else's regrets. Nietzsche didn't want us to just live, he wanted us to create ourselves. To become what he called the Übermensch, the overman. Not a perfect being, but a self-made one. Someone who refuses to be shaped by the crowd, and instead shapes themselves through struggle, self-honesty, and radical independence. If you're blindly following the herd, know this: you're not just losing your originality, you're destroying your destiny. 3. Living in blame and resentment. Now let's talk about one of the most toxic mistakes that quietly poisons your growth: blame. Nietzsche had a term for this. It was ressentiment. It's deeper than just being bitter. It's when you feel powerless, and instead of taking action, you project that powerlessness onto others. You blame your parents, your past, society, fate, and worst of all, you start to believe that you're a victim of life rather than the author of your own story. But here's the hard pill Nietzsche wanted us to swallow. Blaming others might feel good, but it kills your potential. Because the moment you blame, you give away your power. You are no longer in control. Your story is now about what they did to you, not what you did with it. Nietzsche believed that greatness starts when you take full ownership of your suffering, not in spite of it, but because of it. The most powerful people you know aren't the ones who've had the easiest lives. They're the ones who alchemized their pain into strength, who looked at the unfairness and said, "I will rise anyway." Nietzsche wasn't naive. He knew life was brutal. But he also knew that when you face it head-on, without excuses, you tap into something indestructible. That's where real transformation begins. 4. Living without a clear purpose. Another silent killer of potential is drifting through life without a real why. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But most people never define their why. They chase whatever's in front of them: money, status, pleasure, but never pause to ask, what am I building? Who am I becoming? Why am I even doing this? Living without purpose makes every setback feel like failure. Without purpose, pain is just suffering. But with purpose, pain becomes fuel. Nietzsche believed that your life should be a form of art, that you are the artist, and every struggle, every triumph, every scar adds to your masterpiece. But that only happens if you're living with intention, if you're building towards something greater than comfort or ego. Here's the brutal truth. If you don't choose your purpose, the world will choose it for you. And the world doesn't care about your fulfillment, it cares about your obedience. Nietzsche urged us to create our own values, to rebel against borrowed goals. So ask yourself honestly, what's your mission? If you can't answer that, then you've already surrendered to mediocrity. It's time to reclaim that vision. 5. Denying your dark side, the shadow. And finally, the mistake that keeps you from ever fully knowing yourself: denying your shadow. Nietzsche, like Carl Jung after him, believed that every human being has a dark side, a part of us filled with rage, desire, envy, and untapped ambition. But most of us repress it. We pretend to be nice, we follow the rules, we wear a mask to make others, and ourselves, believe we're only good. But Nietzsche saw this as weakness, not virtue. When you deny your shadow, it doesn't go away, it controls you in secret. It leaks into your decisions. It shows up in toxic relationships, self-sabotage, and unexplained anxiety. Nietzsche believed that the path to wholeness meant facing your inner chaos, owning your darkness, and using it, not to destroy but to create. Your shadow isn't your enemy, it's your potential, untamed. When you integrate your shadow, you don't become evil. You become whole, grounded, dangerous but disciplined. You become someone capable of real change. And that, Nietzsche believed, is the path to true freedom, to stop hiding from yourself, and finally become the person you were always meant to be. So let's bring it all together. These mistakes: seeking comfort, following the herd, blaming others, drifting without purpose, and denying your shadow, they're not just bad habits. They are spiritual roadblocks. And until you confront them, you will always feel like you're capable of more, but never actually become more. Nietzsche never promised an easy life, but he did promise a meaningful one. If you're willing to face yourself, if this video challenged you, inspired you, or woke something up inside you, don't let that feeling fade. Reflect. Act. Comment below which of these hit you the hardest. I read every word. If you want more content that doesn't sugarcoat life but actually helps you grow, mentally, spiritually, and personally, subscribe, like, and share this with someone you care about. This isn't just a video. This is a call to transformation. Until next time, become who you are.